Hey everyone, welcome to Adventures in Everyday Cooking, where every day can be an adventure in your kitchen. My name is Heather, and today we are going to review a knife from FZKALY, spelled FZKALY. FZKALY, that's how I'm gonna pronounce it, but I don't know if that's right. Don't come at me. It looks like FZKALY, so we're gonna just call it FZKALY. FZKALY sent me a brand new chef's knife. Oh my gosh. It was in this perfect black box. It is an 8-inch, super sharp, professional grade chef's knife with high carbon stainless steel with an ergonomic wood handle. It also weighs about 6.5 ounces, which is a far cry from some other knives that I have used in the past. So today I thought I would cut up my pork loin and show you just how silky smooth this knife cuts. Also, we're gonna do some pork chops in the air fryer, so I hope you'll join us. Let's get started. So after oogling this German stainless steel knife, I got out my pork loin and got to work. So I noticed right away that the lightness of this kind of concerned me. But as I continued to easily slice through all of this meat, I realized that I really enjoyed the silky smooth cutting of this knife. And as I continued using it, I noticed that it became a little bit easier to use. Now, one of the other things that I noticed is that it is a little thinner than my regular chef's knife. Now, thinner in both ways, thinner in blade and thinner in the height of the knife itself. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that is what I have noticed. So as I'm cutting here, I am actually feeling like this thing is a workhorse. I feel like it is sliding through really easily. The little hollow edge design that you mostly see in the Santoku knives is helping that pork to not stick so fast and hard to the knife. But as I cut all of these pork chops, I really enjoyed this design. So this high carbon stainless steel knife is working really nicely, and I feel as though I really enjoy using it. However, as I continued to use it, I felt like it was a little too light for me. Like I feel like I want a little bit heavier, but as you can see here, it's balanced real nicely. So I feel like if you didn't have a high quality knife to compare with, you would think this knife was amazing. Now, after I get all of my pork chops cut up and ready to go, we're actually going to season these with some Kinder's carne asada, because this carne asada on pork chops is phenomenal. So we're gonna do that. So after we season them, I'm gonna go ahead and get them in vacuum seal bags, because we're not gonna eat all those pork chops. They need to go into the freezer, right? Right. So I'm gonna get them into freezer bags, and I'm actually gonna seal the ones that I'm going to do today in freezer bags as well, because I want kind of like that marinate function. I want to pull all of that seasoning in through your meat. Before we go into the pork chops, I've got to tell you that when I started this video, I intended to make those pork chops the minute later. But my son came home and he was like, "Ooh, are you trying out that new knife?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I have stuff to make. Can I try them?" And you guys, he is a boy after my own heart. He loves to adventure in the kitchen and everyday cooking. And so he grabbed that knife and he went to town. He was cutting potatoes and radishes. He sliced up a tomato. So I thought I would show you the footage of him enjoying this knife. So this is kind of in fast forward a little bit, but let me just tell you, he was impressed. The only thing that he was kind of hesitant on was the length of the blade, because he uses the claw when which is whenever you roll your fingers in, he uses the claw when he slices, and he felt like since the blade was a little shorter than our normal knives, he thought that he might accidentally nick off the edge of his knuckle. But that being said, he felt like you could get used to that if you used it all of the time. He loved how razor sharp it was. He really enjoyed this knife as a whole. Would he use this in place of our regular chef's knife? He's not certain, but he did say for $37, this was an excellent price point for a good knife. Now, he was a little concerned with the fact that the knife was a lot lighter than our regular chef's knife, but again, it didn't deter him because the cost was 3 times less than our regular chef's knife. And right now there's a 10% off coupon. So if you use the link in my description, you will see that this is a great value and a great knife. So that being said, let's cook those pork chops and get them cut up with the same knife. Let's go. All right, and here once again is our beautiful knife. It is beautiful, and it does balance really well in your hand. I just am not so sure that it measures up to a professional grade knife. For a home cook, I think you would be very happy with this knife. Okay, let's go ahead and get our bags open. Very easy to cut because it is extremely sharp. Yeah, I don't know if you saw in that quick video, but I did nick the side of my finger last night with that knife. And it did bleed because it is a very sharp knife. So just keep that in mind when you are doing all the things. All right, so if you're cooking the pork chops with me in your air fryer, go ahead and get it heating up at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. Because we use the vacuum sealer, the carne asada that we use from Kinder's is going to be absolutely fantastic on these guys because they have had a chance for the last 12 hours because I was going to cook them last night, but then the kid came in and wanted to use the knife, and that's fine. That is fine. I would rather show him an adventure with him than finish out my video. So I was like, it's fine. I'll do these ones today and it's going to be perfect. So check out how beautiful these guys look coming out of our vacuum seal bags. Oh man, they're gonna be delicious. And we're just gonna space these out so they're not touching each other because this will only take about 10 minutes in your air fryer and you're gonna have a nice juicy pork. Now it's going to depend on how thick your pork chops are. When I cut them yesterday, I was making sure that they were probably like 1/2 inch, no bigger, so that they would all cook at about the same time. Which now I'm gonna have to move these around because some of these are a little bit bigger, a little bit longer than the other, but they're all about the same 1/2 inch mark. So I'll just make sure that they're separated. We don't want them to touch because then they won't cook all around. So there we have it. And when these guys come out, we are gonna give the FZKALY chef's knife another go at cutting up this pork chop and making pork tacos for later. But I'm not going to show you the pork tacos for later. I'm just going to show you this cut up because it cuts like butter. It's amazing. All right, and once your air fryer is heated up, we're going to get it into the middle section. So put it somewhere in the middle. If you have a basket air fryer, don't worry about it. Just do your best. And then we are going to go to air fry we're gonna start at 10 minutes, but it could take up to 14 depending on the size of your pork chop, but we're gonna do 10. And woo-hoo-hoo, check out those beauties. Oh yeah, I love making pork chops in my air fryer because they are so easy and they're delicious. Let's check the temperature. Perfect, perfect. They are done. And we're gonna let them rest for about 2 minutes. And then we're gonna use our fantastic new knife to cut these up. And I'll just show you how beautifully it cuts. And if you have never made pork chops in the air fryer, just check out those beauties. Definitely air fryer worthy. The thin pork chop. Beautiful. All right, the time is up. I can wait no longer. So let's take our knife. Now, let me show you again how well balanced this is. It is just as heavy on the back that it is on the front. Now, this doesn't really matter to the home cook very much, but when you're using the knife a lot, it helps that it is evenly balanced because it prevents hand fatigue when you are doing a lot of things. The other thing that I will re-mention is This is far, far lighter than my other knife, and it is smaller. So the other knife here in this video right here, you can see that the other knife is a little bit longer in its tang, whereas this one is a little narrower, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bad thing when you're used to a larger chef's knife. So let's get these cut up. I'm not gonna use a ton of pressure. I'm just gonna use a little bit, and you're gonna see how easily this cuts. Yeah, it is like butter. It feels like I am cutting nothing, like I am using barely any pressure. It's cutting beautifully. I'm using barely any strength and just the one cutting motion, and it is cutting through the entire pork chop. Check it. Isn't that great? And then I will turn it sideways this direction. Maybe we should just try a piece. Okay, hold on. Oh man. Try another one just for, The carne asada is amazing. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna slide right through this as well. So I don't know how to communicate how sharp this knife is, but I'm just barely holding on to it, and it slid right through that pork chop like it was butter. So amazing. And last night, my son used it for his whole meal. He used it to cut his lamb. He used it to cut his potatoes. He used it to cut radishes. He used it for all the reasons. Look at that, beautiful. And that was so easy. Okay, I'm gonna cut it all up like that. That doesn't even have to be in fast forward. That was so easy. It will take me 2 seconds to get all of these diced up for those tacos. So this is the first time that I'm using it on cooked meat, and I am pretty impressed. It's easy to hold, easy to maneuver. Yeah, for the price, I think this is a good knife. Because of how sharp it is, that was super easy. All right, you guys, well, if you enjoyed that video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. I am an everyday cook, so I am not a professional. I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy sharing products that I think might benefit the home cook, like this FZKALY knife. Man, at $37 with a 10% off coupon, you can't beat that. So I thought I would share it with you, but sometimes I have products that I don't like very much. I mean, there's been a few, but I will always give you an honest opinion about the product that I'm giving to. They don't all get glowing reviews. Like this one is good. It is a little light and it is a little short. Those are my two, like negative parts of this, but it is a good budget knife. German carbon steel, I really like it. So if you're in the market for a new knife, it's beautiful, as you can see. Then I'm gonna let you know about products that might make your time in the kitchen just a little bit easier. All right, you guys, well, that's it for me. We'll see you on the next adventure. Time for tacos. Bye.